Hello, hello. It's Empress Shay. Hey, I'm here with Healing Energies with Empress Shay, and we are here to do our Jupiter in retrograde, our weekly Jupiter in retrograde in Cancer reading. It's going to be exciting. Hey, that Jupiter is journeying backwards through Cancer. That fourth house energy is what we're getting. The cosmos invites us to reflect rather than expand. Retrogrades are not setbacks, they are a time for pause. Just a pause for a moment. This retrograde actually started on the 11th of November and it goes clear to March 10th, late March 10th, early March 11th, depending on your part of the world. So let's turn towards some wisdom and inward reflection, see what Spirit is saying for this Jupiter in retrograde in Cancer. Yeah. All right, let's get started. And keep in mind, if you know someone that needs to hear this, go ahead and share. Sharing is caring. And like and subscribe if you want to hear me again, because then you'll know when I'm on. Okay? And we need to get that algorithm going so they can know that this is something that you want to hear about. I'm all for just really enlightening others concerning how the stars and the cards line up. So amazing, it really is. Yes, let's get started.
Is it really worth fighting for? I will give you everything and more.
Okay, on week 7. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer reading. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit Guides. Spirit Guides, we are looking for the energy for the collective for week 7, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Energy for the collective, Spirit. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Energy for the collective. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Amen. Okay, tide turning. Oh, it is the Four of Swords, the tide turning. Tide turning is the Four of Swords. And roots and lineage is Seven of Cups. May have options. And the inner waters is death and rebirth. Transformation been in almost all of these. Oh my goodness, transformation. It's all about transformation. Yes, introspect. Retrograde. And the Three of Swords is the belief we need to reconsider. Beliefs reconsidered. Hidden treasures is the Two of Cups. And the anchor is the Five of Wands. And then we have, last but not least, the Four of Wands. Who is getting married? Okay, Four of Wands. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, all right then. Yes, okay. And first of all, I'd just like to say we got the supermoon going on today. So I'm sure that I see some things here that is definitely in line with that. And happy New Year, everybody. On the third day of the year, powerful, powerful year number one, that new beginning. Okay, so we're going to talk about these. So this is the tide turning the Four of Swords. And it just makes me feel like sleepy, sleepy, sleepy. I think that the between us being in Jupiter retrograde, Jupiter is retrograding in Cancer, and this is also the Cancer full moon. Yeah, it's given us a lot of Cancerian energy here. And the collective finds itself pausing, not by choice, but by necessity. Because life has been loud lately. We just had the holidays and ooh, 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 just everything. So emotions have been heavy. And now, under this super full moon in Cancer, everything goes quiet. Not because nothing matters, but because the soul needs silence to heal. People are sleeping more. Oh my goodness. I don't know about y'all, but yes, I, I've been needing a little bit more sleep. I do say so myself. And thinking deeper, deep thinking. The tide doesn't rush anymore, it waits. Just rest. Just rest. That Four of Swords, yeah, that was kind of fitting for that. Because that, I feel like I want to say something else about that tide turn. It's giving the nervous system some rest, that's for sure. We're just being asked to pause. So rest is not an avoidance, though. It's preparation. It's preparing. She's preparing for something, resting up. Back in the, let's say, dark ages, like when there were nights and well, there's still nights, but back when the nights actually had a more of a functional type job there, they had to rest up before the battle. And that's where that energy comes from. That Four of Swords is resting up before, or like in the heat of all of the busyness, all of the battle, or whatever's going on. This is resting up, that Four of Swords. That's where that energy really does come from there. So it's all about a pause, though. It's all about just taking a little siesta to get some rest, to rest the nervous system, to heal. And it's a conscious choice. Made the choice to go do that, using some smarts, intelligence. All right. And then roots and lineage is the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups, anytime you see that Seven of Cups, you know, it's all about options. He has several to choose from, several to choose from. And this card speaks to emotional patterns that are inherited or learned, especially around security, love, or belonging. And it stems from, it's like confusion though, because there's so many different ones to choose from. It gets confusing. So what we're taught to feel is kind of like what we're taught to feel versus what actually is true for us now. So you're kind of looking at those things at this point. You know, kind of the collective is kind of examining, like, I was taught this, but now it's coming under scrutiny. But it's a little confusing as well. So that roots and lineage, it's all about ancestral confusion, being confused by maybe traditions or things that this is the way we always did it, but now you're like, just don't feel right, don't seem right. We need to re-examine it. Emotional inheritance and illusions, all about clearing illusions. That's what that roots and lineage is doing today, clearing the illusions. Okay, and then the inner, the inner waters is the death and rebirth. And the death and rebirth is about emotional shedding, identity, renewal, like kind of renewing, shedding so that you can renew, you know, because it's death. So shedding, getting rid of something, and getting something new, rebirth. Soul level change. It's really changes that is going on with that inner waters. This is not light transformation. It's deep emotional alchemy. Old versions of self, outdated emotional responses, and ancestral wounds are being released right now. You're not losing yourself. You're becoming more of who you really are. You're becoming more of who you are as you are evolving and realigning. That's what that death and rebirth is about. It's really what it's about. And I do have to say that with that death and rebirth, it's a release, and you know, you might find yourself with tears without warning, like you just feel like cleansing, you know, tears are cleansing. An old identity is dissolving, and that's what that's about. That's what that's about. That's those inner waters. The water breaks. So you'll find that that's what that energy there is about. And it's very emotional because we are in the full moon and the energy is high. And when the energy is high, the emotions are high. So it's like, yeah, the energy is high. There's nothing we can do about it. We are under a super full moon. Okay, just chill, relax, take a nap. Okay, so, and then we have the Three of Swords is beliefs reconsidered, heart truth, old pain, emotional honesty. Mm. This card brings honesty around heartbreak, past or present, because that's the belief reconsidered. So it's bringing a little bit of clarity, around that heartbreak. Like you know why everything happened. Some beliefs you carried formed into pain, not truth. Jupiter retrograde asks, though, what story about love or safety am I ready to release? So it's like some truth comes out with it, and you're ready to start releasing some of that. Healing begins when truth is allowed to surface. So it's kind of like, oh, I know what happened now. I know why that happened. You know, that's what that's about. That's the energy of it. And then the hidden treasures is the Two of Cups, and that's all about emotional reciprocity. It's soul level connection. It's what emerges after healing, true emotional alignment. That's what emerges after the healing from that heartbreak, and you figured it all out. It's really becoming emotionally aligned within yourself. So this can be a relationship, or it could be a reconciliation too, because now you guys have figured it out. What happened, what went wrong. Most importantly, it's a renewed relationship with yourself. Balanced, balanced love becomes possible with this Two of Cups in that hidden treasures position, because this is the hidden treasure. So these are things you're finding out about yourself, about the person you love or the person you thought you loved. There may be, like I said, some reconciliation going on, because it's a renewed relationship. Balance is restored, harmony is restored with that hidden treasure. And then we have the anchor, the Five of Wands. And that's internal conflict. It's growing pains, emotional resistance, that conflict. But the conflict is internal, because we are talking about introspect, right? We're talking about retrograde. So it's all internal. Okay, so that's our anchor. There may be inner tension, competing desires, emotional triggers are happening with this energy. a resistance to change. That's what it could be from that energy, a resistance to change. It isn't chaos, it's growth friction. It's friction trying to grow, and you just kind of conflict with it, conflict with the growth that's happening. But the conflict, it reveals what still wants attention, what still needs the attention, not punishment, attention. That's that anchor. That's the anchor, okay? And then the Four of Wands, that's the path forward. It's all about emotional stability, inner home, celebration of healing. Remember, that's a celebration card. Celebration of healing. The way forward leads to peace, emotional security, and grounded joy. You're rebuilding your inner home, and that feels safe, celebratory, and authentic. This is stability earned through healing. So this week's message for the collective altogether, all of this together, is rest before you rise, release before you rebuild, okay? And heal before you harmonize. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer continues to remind us emotional safety is not something you chase, it's something you create within. It's all internal. Yep, the super full moon has affected that Jupiter in retrograde. So Cancer rules emotions, memory, ancestry, home, safety, and the inner child. The super full moon intensifies these themes because the super full moon is in Cancer and the Jupiter is retrograding through Cancer. So it's bringing everything closer, louder, harder to ignore. All of those. So the tide turn with that Four of Swords. That's, like I said, that's emotional exhaustion. The emotions are exhausted as well. Especially after the holiday, I think, right? Just, you're trying to get a little bit of rest after the holiday, and you get the super exhausting full moon. That's pretty beautiful. So it's the emotional and nervous system fatigue. The moon says, rest now. Your body will act louder. Okay. I want to just say, though, with that, like I said, you find yourself pausing, you find yourself getting some rest. And it's, of course, not because nothing matters, but because the soul needs silence to heal. Needs that. People are sleeping more, pulling back, thinking deeply. The tide doesn't rush anymore. It waits. And then you have the Seven of Cups, roots and lineage. Memories rise from the deep. In the quiet old image surface, family stories, emotional patterns, confusion about love, safety, and belonging. Some realize it isn't even my fear. I inherited this. The moon pulls up emotional fog, not to trap the collective, but to ask what is real and what is learned. Because it, it's, it's confusion. It's like, is this real or is this just what I've been taught all my life? Now I'm examining my own beliefs. And that's what this is about. It's about ancestors. It's about what you've been taught. The full moon, it exposes what's absorbed unconsciously. It exposes it. What's absorbed unconsciously. So, because the Cancer moon, it pulls memories from deep storage, like family patterns, inherited fears, emotional myths. Illusions dissolve when emotions are fully felt instead of avoided. And that's why with the Seven of Cups, see, it's given ancestral confusion vibes. It's like, is what I learned real or what I'm learning now? Is it real? Yeah, that's a good one there. And then with the death and rebirth, the inner waters. Like I said, it's like the tears come out without warning. It's certainties fall apart. Old identities dissolve. This is the moment that the collective stop holding on to who they used to be emotionally. Something deep is shedded quietly, completely. There's grief here, but there's relief. There's relief in it because you realize that it's something that you didn't need. You're shedding something that you know that you don't need. And that's the inner waters. And the full moon, just to talk about that, since we are right in the full moon right now, it's an emotional purging. That's the full moon. It just purges and renews. It's a soul level renewal, especially in the sign of Cancer. So it's a full moon in Cancer, yeah. They end emotional cycles. This is ancestral healing, inner child release. Ancestral healing and inner child release. That's what's happening with that. Something old cannot come with you anymore. And that's a blessing. Yeah. So then, now we are at the Three of Swords. Yeah. And it's heart truth, old pain, emotional honesty. This card brings honesty around heartbreak. We talked about that. But not only is that the energy, but some beliefs you carry were formed in pain, not truth. Do you realize that? Some beliefs that we carry were formed in pain, not truth. Jupiter retrograde asks, what story about love or safety am I ready to release? Because it's not true. What story that's not true that I'm ready to release about love or safety? Yeah. The heart finally tells the truth. Old heartbreak, it does that not to reopen a wound, but to be acknowledged. And many people are going to realize that they've been living from pain-based beliefs. Um, Pain-based beliefs like love always leaves, like I can't have love, I can't hold on to love. I'm too much. I'm too much. That's why I can't have love. Safety isn't guaranteed. Just really old pain-based beliefs. Safety isn't guaranteed. Those type of beliefs. But under the Cancer full moon, the heart says, that story no longer defines me. Because there's healing. There's healing taking place. So you realize that story doesn't define me. The truth does hurt, but truth also sets you free. Also sets you free. And then we have the Two of Cups. And that's the hidden treasures. It's emotional reciprocity. Emotional reciprocity is that Two of Cups. The full moon effect with that is emotional alignment after release. Once the purge happens, what remains is true connection, balance, mutual safe. And this can show up as a healed bond, a new emotional beginning, or deep reconciliation. The full moon restores emotional reciprocity. The full moon restores it. And the anchor, the Five of Wands, the full moon effect of that is inner emotional conflict peaks. So the supermoon intensifies internal tension. That competition, old reactions and new boundaries may clash. This friction is not regression, it's recalibration. Yeah. So all that tension, all that emotional tension, all the tension from everything that has happened is all coming together for a reason. And that reason is to bring it to a peak so that it can be healed. And then the path forward, the Four of Wands. That supermoon, what it's doing for that is giving you emotional security. The emotional security becomes attainable. Cancer rules the home, of course, we all know that. And this full moon helps to rebuild it, rebuilding the home internally, from the inside out. So you end up with peace, celebration, and emotional grounding. Come after honesty. After all of these honest things are done, especially that Three of Hearts, that clearing of hearts, getting some rest, the conflict, all of it coming together to bring peace. All of it coming together to bring peace. So the message really is that you rested, you remembered, you released. You return to yourself. And this week isn't about fixing life. It's about coming back home emotionally and letting that change everything. So as this super full moon in Cancer settles, remember, nothing surfaced this week to harm you. Everything rose to heal, release, and return you home to yourself. So let yourself rest, let the emotions move, let the truth land gently. You are not behind, you are integrating. And if this message resonates, take a moment to like, comment, share. Your reflection may be exactly what someone else needs right now. And don't forget to subscribe so you stay connected to these weekly collective messages and healing portals. So I'm sending you calm waters, a steady heart, and the reminder that emotional safety is something you are learning to give yourself. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and stay aligned. And remember to be gentle with yourself, because life is about the journey, not the destination. You're here now. Enjoy it. Live long and prosper. This has been Empress Shay, and have a wonderful rest of your day.